Good morning, everybody. Here we are at the B Cup on the YouTube channel. Yay! How exciting is that? Everyone move over. Our amazing moderators, Rachel and Stacy, are going to help everyone find their space over at YouTube. So right now what I'm doing is I'm doing YouTube and I'm doing Facebook so that we can coordinate the two together and eventually slide everybody over from Facebook onto YouTube and have our discussion there. I don't mind doing two cameras. It doesn't bother me. I just don't want it to bother you guys because I want to stay on track with our important conversation. And today is a very important conversation, okay? Hi, Reagan. Reagan says, makes me love me. Be the person your dog thinks you are, Mug. That's great. Good morning, Octavia. Thanks for joining us. Sorry it's loud. Today is street cleaning day. You hear that? I have to wake up to that sometimes. DJ says, I saw you first in photos and photography book I looked up on Netflix. Sucks it's not there anymore. I know, Netflix took off my documentary because it ran its course, even though it was one of the top downloaded documentaries on Netflix. Did you know that? One of the top, actually, LGBTQIA on Netflix, but they took it off. Hi, everybody on YouTube. I see you all. Thank you so much. Crystal, Melistrombe. Oh, that's Smash. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Goth Punk Girl and Ty. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming over here. Oh, hi, Charlie. How you doing? So, as you see today, I put the topic of our conversation is going to be about parents. And the reason that we're going to do that today is because I've been talking to Rachel and Stacy a lot about being parents and how important it is for us to be actually having a conversation with the parents. You know what I mean? It's super. Hi, Kenneth. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Parents are the future of our community. Think about it for a minute. If the parents aren't feeling versed enough, are feeling welcomed enough, are feeling able to... Oh, good morning from Mexico. That's awesome. Hi, Al. Thanks for joining us. You know what I'm saying? Francisco. Do you know what Francisco just said to me? Francisco, you're hilarious. Francisco says, you look better on YouTube. But thank you, my friend. I guess that's a compliment. Stacy's on vacation. Go away, Stacy. You're on vacation. Have a fun time. Okay, so Kali says, apparently I can't chat on YouTube on my Xbox, so you are stuck with me here. Okay, we're going to figure that out. I'm going to figure that out because some people have been... Philip, hi, I'm great. Thank you. Some people are complaining about the chat, but let's just get over that right now. Hi, Andrea from Spain. Thanks for joining us. If you can move over to YouTube, we're doing a good job. I'm watching people move over. You guys are good. You guys are good. I appreciate you really making the effort to move with me on platforms. It's not easy. It's not also easy to move anywhere when everyone is situated in their sort of routine. You know, we have our routine. We have our routine, and that becomes a thing when you have a routine to get out of the routine. So yeah, Ty, Ty says the same, and Ty's also our moderator, and he's here as well. Hi, Ty. Thanks for making the switch over. So Ty, Stacy, and Rachel, if you're not familiar, are our three moderators and amazing people who continue to push the B Cup forward and continue to help us. And it's not me, it's them. They're behind the scenes. They make everything work. They started the B Cup project on Facebook. If you haven't had a chance, please check it out. And if you need anything, those three will help you. They're amazing and versed and very much a part of this whole program. So hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining us and drinking. I see Australia's in the house and Abadoon. Good morning, my friend. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. Hi, Deviar. And Katie says, Katie asked if anybody else has tried the Bucks Bomb. So yeah, let's talk about that later too. I would love to get everybody's feedback who've used the Bucks Bomb and how you're feeling about it, and if you think I need to make any improvements. So I want to get back to talking about parents, and the reason why we're talking about parents, hi Michael, is this. Rachel and Stacy really talked to me about starting to speak to the parents, and because I am writing my book right now, and one of the things they ask you about when you're trying to find a publisher or an agent with your book is who's going to read your book. They want to know what's the demographic of your book. Now, for me, I don't don't actually even know my demographic of fans or people who want to read my book or be around. I don't know. Hi, Roseanne. But I guessed that it would be the LGBTQ community. And I did take a poll. Are there more LGBTQ people following me and listening to our voice or my voice? Or are there more cisgender, people, are there more transgender people, or are there more gender nonconforming people? And it seemed to be that more cisgender people were people who wanted to hear my voice. And with that, I thought also, well, are there parents? Because I do talk to a lot of parents. Parents write me all the time and ask me questions. So I thought, actually, I do have a very very vast group of followers, Katie. I do, and it's actually really amazing. I feel very happy about the vast group of followers that I have. Everything. But what I did notice from my poll was that I noticed that more than half the people that follow are cisgender, and that said to me, I bet I have a lot of parents. And then I realized I do have a lot of parents. I realized how many questions I get from parents, why parents always come to me, just amazing amount of stuff happens through parents. And so I said, oh, hi, Charlie. Charlie says on YouTube, let me see here. Charlie says, love the topic. I feel that parents sometimes get overlooked. I'm trying to be the opposite to my parents, different generation, with both my mini humans, as you say, letting them simply be. Thank you, Charlie. That's very important. I appreciate that. So, yes, we must understand how important we are. Hi, Cheryl, you did make it. How important we are to parents. Parents don't know. I use myself as an example, and I think of myself back in the 60s and 70s. My parents didn't know anything. They tried so hard. Hi, Dan. They tried so hard. They got knocked down constantly from their friends, from my psychiatrist. Back in the day, we went to psychiatrists. They didn't know. They feel so guilty about some of the things they did. Can you imagine? Fast forward to today in 2017. There is no parent anywhere, I'm going to just speak about America right now, anywhere in this country that should ever feel just not enough information about how to raise their transgender child. There just shouldn't be. And if they are struggling, shame on us. Shame on us for not taking the time and the energy to talk to parents about what we went through as transsexual or transgender people growing up in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and the 5000s and whatever you grew up in. Okay? Kia says, you are an educator. This is why. Thank you, my friend. I feel very honored and blessed that people do listen to my voice. And I feel very honored that I'm able to reach to the parents in order to create a space where the next generation will have had parents who understood them, who took the time, who didn't care what other people thought about them. I mean, some of the transgender parents of trans kids that I know are phenomenal, I go over to a woman that I met who came to see me speak here in Los Angeles. She has a transgender child who's 10 years old, a female to male, and she invited me to her house after she came to see me speak. And I met her and we became best friends. And I come over and I visit, and her trans kid who's 10 years old, he's a little guy and he's beautiful and amazing. And he just comes and he stares at me like I'm some kind of a creature. But you know why he stares at me? You want to know why he stares at me? He stares at me because he sees himself. His mom told him that I used to be a girl and I became a boy just like him. And he just stares at me like this. And he's never hugged me until last couple weeks ago when I went over and I stood there and I was talking to his mom, and he came up and I said, hey, kiddo. And he came up and he hugged me. He hugged me. And that was just like, me and his mom were like, I mean, wow. But can you imagine? And this is why it is important for us to have visibility. Just if you don't want to be visible, I completely understand it. But think of the kids. Think how amazing it is for a kid to see us, or a parent to talk to us, or them to say, oh my God, look, you can grow up to be a functioning. If I grew up in the 60s and the 70s where people were telling me, no, you're never going to be who you are right now, And I fucking did it without any help from anybody. And I'm not kidding you. Zero help from anybody. I did it. I navigated our fucked up system 20 years ago to become this man. Can you imagine today? There is no way any transgender child should ever be suffering. There is no way any parent of a transgender child should ever feel lost or not understand how to navigate the system. It is our responsibility to talk to the parents. And if you don't want to do it, I'll do it. I don't care that you don't want to do it, but somebody has to do it. But if you want to do it, which I think you do, because you're here listening about it, how do we do it? Move over to YouTube. Move over to YouTube. Move over to YouTube. Please move over to YouTube. Yes, Jennifer says, in the words of Michael, you are not alone. This is why it's important. Kali said, this is education I can get behind 100%. Yes, thank you. Why? Again, you don't have to like me. You don't have to believe things I'm doing are important. You don't have to think my voice is important. You don't have to even like what I say. But what you do have to do is participate in making our community grow positively. Because if we don't join forces and we don't take this responsibility on, we will not move forward, and the children will be the ones who suffer. I don't have kids. I don't want kids. I'm trampa to the kids. So there's that. And I do believe it is my responsibility to say, hey, kiddo, check it out. You can be G.I. Joe. You can be whoever you want to be. Focus on that. But one of the most important parts of that equation are parents. And if your parents don't understand you, you're going to be fucked navigating the system if your parents don't understand. If you go to your mom and you say, Mom, I feel like a boy, and you are a little girl, supposedly, and your mom says, that's weird, I don't know what you're talking about. There you go. You automatically just got pushed to the side. You automatically just got pushed to the side. Daniel says, I went to high school in Harvey Milk School in New York, and my mom got to meet a lot of my trans friends. She was taken back by the community, but my mom has totally become an ally. See? See how that works? It is an amazing thing. And I hear those stories all the time. I mean, I met, okay, so here's another example. I went to a big conference, and I think it was the National Coalition of the Lesbian Rights, the NCLR, and it was an amazing dinner, and who was being honored there was the mother and father of a transgender child. Okay, they wrote a book, they're amazing, and they were sitting at the table next to me, and he was the cutest little boy, and he stood up there on stage, and I started to cry because what did I see? I saw myself. I saw myself as a little kid, and there in 2016, there's this kid standing up on stage who's a little 10-year-old transgender child, and he's accepting an award, and he is just like so cool in his little suit, and he's so happy, and his parents are amazing. There I go crying again because it's so amazing. And there he is, and I go, oh my God, I gotta meet these parents. So after they spoke up on stage, I'm crying from happiness because when you see a 10-year-old child standing up on stage, being so in his little suit and a little man, you can't help but not cry because it's fucking phenomenal. And you know, that kid's life has just changed. That kid's life has just changed. And it's amazing. So there's this 10-year-old kid in his suit, and there he is, all proud, and his parents are proud, and they come and sit down at the table. And what do? I get up and I run over to the table and I look and I say, excuse me, hi. And the lady turns around and she looks at me and she goes, Buck Angel? And I'm like, holy shit, she totally knows who I am. She's like, oh, Buck. And she stands up and she says to her husband, it's Buck, it's Buck. And she looks at her child and her child looks and she's like, it's Buck. And her kid looks at me and he's like, and they're all looking at me all crazy. And I'm like, and she goes, it's because of you. She said to me, it's because of you that I'm able to let my child be who he is. I researched and you were always the person coming up. And I read everything about you and I know everything about you. And I said, but what about my porn work? She's like, who cares about your porn work? It's actually really important. And these are very conservative people from a town in Southern California. And they didn't care about my porn work. And that's when I knew, you know what? All those people who are giving so much power to my porn work as a negative thing, yet here's a mom telling me that I changed her life and I helped her with her son. I knew at that moment, that's it. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going for the parents, because that, my friend, is game-changing for me as well as you. And so that is one of the reasons why I knew how powerful it is to be able to speak out in the world and have people hear you and change people's lives. Okay? That's why I encourage you to do the same thing. And that's why I tell you that even though you might not think your voice is important, your voice is extremely important, because somebody out there will hear you. Somebody out there will run across you on the internet. I love doing this. My lady friend hates it. When you're cruising the internet, somebody's going to see you. Somebody's going to hear you. Somebody's going to say, oh my God, I've been looking for that message. When that mother cried in my arms and said to me that I changed her life, that I changed the life of her child, it was like, what? That's a huge responsibility, but a responsibility that you could take on if you understand the importance of who you are and what you bring to the world. And there I stood in the arms of this mother, and we were both crying like mad. And we were both realizing how we both can change the world. How as a mother, she wrote a book about transitioning with her child. And that book has become a big, humongous, gigantic selling book in the world of parenting. And that's where I and we come in. And when I say I'm writing my book, and I say to the people who are looking at my book and the publishers, which I am looking for a publisher right now, and it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy for me to find somebody who's willing to take my book on. None of the top publishing companies, they're all, we think your story is amazing. We think what you have is going on. We think it's great. But, here it comes, you guys. But, you are a pornographer. And there's no way we can sell your book. That's what they've told me. And I'm thinking to myself, in 2017, you are still harping on my pornographic work, which I don't even really do anymore. It's so sparse. It's not the focus of who I am and what I do. It is part of my life and part of my work, but it is not the whole thing. I make lube. I make products. I make things for sexual wellness, but there we were. There they are saying to me, we think you're great, your message is awesome, but the porn, we can't sell your book. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're saying that to me in 2017 when parents of children tell me, I don't give a fuck about your porn work. Your message is bigger than that. And that's every time somebody disses me or says something about my porn work or says they can't sell my book because it has attachment to pornography. I'm like, you know what? You're not the publisher for me, and you're not the agent for me. And I will find the publisher and I will find the agent, because I know there are people out there that want to read my book, and I know it's not about me. My book isn't about me. My book is about you and about giving you the power to become you. And it has nothing to do with me. I'm just vomiting out my story. Smash, of course I can self-publish. 100% I can do that. And that's going to be, if it comes down to that, I have people who are interested. But, you know, me and my ego was going to the top. I was like, I'm going to get a gigantic publishing house. Nope. And that's me thinking that I can break through the system, which I can, and I will, on my own terms. But on the terms of how the publishing world works now, supposedly my story, because it's attached to pornography, is a hard sell. And I'm like, doesn't anybody understand that pornography is the biggest selling medium on the internet? So you tell me whether or not my book is going to sell because I talk about my porn work. It's going to sell even more because people want to hear about porn. They want to know why I started in porn. They want to understand how porn has impacted my life. They want to understand why did I start to do porn. So come on, don't say that. That is irresponsible behavior. So check this out. I want to show you something right now. I'm going to go on a tiny little commercial and I'm going to be right back. So hold on. What do you think about that? I've been playing with my settings here to see how it works. So I wanted to be able to say, can I do that? That was pretty cool, huh? So it's saying that my live streaming feed is experiencing some difficulties. I don't know why. I pay out the butt for this internet connection. It's really a scam. So here, kids, let me tell you something. That was pretty cool, huh? So Jennifer says, do you see more mothers or fathers having issues accepting their trans child, or is it equal? Good question. Here's the deal. For some reason, Francisco, for some reason, mothers seem to be more accepting than fathers. And same for me too. My mom was way more easily accepting of the situation. If you see my documentary, and if you haven't seen my documentary, I highly recommend it, not because of me, but because the story is very powerful. And it became one of the most downloaded LGBT documentaries on Netflix, and then they took it off. It is on Amazon, and it is on iTunes, but I highly recommend you use Amazon because iTunes is lame and it's a scam. So listen. The question was, do you see more mothers or fathers having issues accepting their trans child? 100% fathers. I see a hell of a lot more problems with the dads than the moms. The moms seem to be... My mom, when I told her, I'll never forget the time I told my mom. And I had just started my transition. Let's have a sip of our coffee before we get into this little story. Here's what we should do. Look, let's have a little coffee sip. Watch. I'm going to show you something. Or you can't see unless you're on YouTube, so you're missing out. So watch this. I'm going to have a little sip of my coffee. Be right back. What do you think about that? I totally put in a commercial. Not that I'm trying to upsell you. I'm just trying to make it all work because eventually a lot of people are going to watch this, we hope. So I'm getting back to the question and why. And I'm going to tell you a story here. So when I was first transitioning, I wasn't really connected to my parents at all. In fact, I lost connection to my parents for many years because they disowned me because I was a drug addict, and they should have done that. I was a mess. So then what happened was I started taking testosterone, and I started to transition, and my voice started to have that weird little sound that it still has and it hasn't changed. And then I was talking like this. So I remember calling my parents up. Yes, they still have the same phone number. And I said, hello. My mom answered the phone. And remember, here's the key to the story. She hadn't heard from me for years and years. And I was just sober, and I started my hormones. I think I was 1 year onto hormones, and I was about a year or so sober. And I called my mom up, and I said, hi, Mom. And she said, who is this? And I said, it's me, Buck. And she said, oh. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, how are you? Where are you? What's going on? She was like confused, of course. And I started to tell her, well, this is what's happening. I'm sober. I started to, something that I need to tell you. And she said, okay. And I said, back in the days, what we called it, I said, I'm starting my sex change. And she's like, what? And I said, I'm starting my sex change. And she said, do you have a cold? And I said, no, my voice is changing because I'm using testosterone, which is helping me transition into becoming a man. And she didn't understand clearly. And I said, okay, I'm having a sex change. And she said, oh. And I said, yeah. And she said, well, for like after about 30 seconds of silence. And she said to me, well, you know what? The only thing me and your father ever wanted from you was for you to be happy. And if that's making you happy, then we're happy. And most importantly, you're alive. And that's all that matters. And we love you. And I was like, what? Who is that? Yeah, I'm holding a phone because that's what I was talking on, a phone. An actual phone. And I said, what? Who is this? I could not believe my mother was saying that to me. My mother never said I love you growing up. We weren't a loving family. We were not a loving family. We didn't say I love you. We never said that. We said shit like meathead, stupid, idiot, dummy. My dad, not my mom. But then I started to cry, and my mom started to cry, and I was like, holy shit. And that was the beginning of my relationship that I have with my parents today. And the reason I believe that that happened was because I went directly to my parents, and I had no shame about my transition. I had no shame about who I was. I had nothing to lose. And I knew at that point there was going to be nobody in my life who didn't accept my transition. And that was my number one rule when I transitioned. I will not let anybody tell me what I'm doing is a bad thing, ever. And because I did that, and because I went to it in that way, I have had nothing but an amazing experience to transition. And I come back to the beginning of our show. Parents are important. The parents are the future of our generation. The parents are the ones that will raise the young LGBTQ. In order for them to be able to be successful in the world, you must, I believe this wholeheartedly, have a great experience as a child. It helps you. I mean, I don't think that that's 100% the only thing, but you will become more successful, faster, easier, with less bullshit in your life if growing up was not a pain in the ass. That's what I mean to say. When growing up is a pain in the ass, it causes so many problems for you when you become an adult. But when growing up is just a thing, and you're there, and you're accepted, and you're able to talk to your parents, and you're be able to be who you are and you want to be, I was able to do that most of my childhood. It wasn't until puberty and 15 and all this shit happened. But pretty much before that, I had an amazing childhood. I did not have a bad childhood. I had a childhood where my parents let me just be me. And that is in the 60s and 70s. Fast forward to today, I think it has a lot to do with who I am now. Of course, I had problems in the middle. I had problems in the middle because nobody knew how to help me change those problems back in the day. And it is why I keep saying it is our responsibility to help doctors, to help psychiatrists, to help therapists, to help mothers, to help fathers, to help children of transgender people move forward by using our knowledge of how we got to be where we are today. And it is our responsibility, because if we don't share our knowledge, what do you think will happen? We will be thrown back to the 50s because nobody's sharing their experiences of becoming themselves today in a way that will move us forward. And that's why we must talk to the parents. We must let them ask us questions. We must have interaction with them. We must be visible for them. We must be visible for the children. Jennifer says, your mom is great. My mom is amazing. I appreciate you saying that. When you meet my mom, all you got to do is go and watch my documentary and you'll see my mom. Jennifer says, what is your advice to someone whose parents love them but refuse to use proper pronouns? How would you suggest they address this? Yes, that's a big thing. In the beginning, my mom and my dad didn't know how to deal with it and kept calling me she and kept using my other name and all those kinds of things. I started testosterone 22 years ago. So what year was that? A long time ago. So here's the question. What is your advice to someone whose parents love them, okay, but refuse to use proper pronouns? My suggestion and my opinion is this. Parents need to be trained. They grew up with you as little Susie, but they don't know how to deal with you as little Tommy because it's new to them. And it's something that they don't know. So it's your responsibility, if you're old enough and you understand that your parents are having a hard time with this, because to you, they are still to them, you are still their little girl when you are really their little boy. So now it's your time to educate them. And to say, Mom and Dad, this is the deal. They're going to keep calling you she. It's because they've been taught to call you she. You have to retrain them to call you he. And it is something that takes a year, 2 years, 2 months, 1 week. Who the hell knows? Everybody's different in their idea of how to retrain their brain around their child. Okay? So here's the deal. If they're doing that, Jennifer, it is the responsibility of the person who is transitioning to continue to educate their parents, to get them things, show them videos, show them how people have transitioned, show them why it's important for their pronouns, show them. Educate, educate, educate. Educate your parents. Hi, Alex. Educate your parents. It is your responsibility as a transgender person who is transitioning to educate your parents. Don't get mad at your parents. Stop getting mad at parents. Stop it. Stop getting mad when people misgender you or don't use the right pronouns. Stop it. It is not the fault unless they're doing it out of spite and you know it. That's a different story, but I'm not going there, okay? I'm not going there. I'm just going to make the assumption that people don't know and people need to know. And when they learn, they'll fix it. And that's it. Have compassion for people. Have compassion for people when you're transitioning. They don't get it. Daniel says, oh, hi, Alex. Nice to see you. Daniel says, what is your advice for parents who are scared about their kids looking passable? I feel like that's a big deal, not to me, but to like them due to society. So, well, I don't know why. I see what you're saying. So, like, let's say little Susie wants to be little Tommy, and little Tommy wants to dress like a little boy, and the parents are scared to dress him like a little boy because people are talking shit to them, which is what happens. I said this is why we need to empower our parents. We need to empower our parents. We need to stick by our parents. We need to be an army for our parents. And we need to say, yes, let little Susie dress like little Tommy. And when people say anything, who cares? Nobody has a say-so in how you raise your kids. That's one thing I know about this country. Those are your children. Unless you're beating your children or you're abusing your children or you're doing something fucked up to your children, they need to be taken away from you. But other than that, if you're raising your child on the way that you choose to raise your child, that's okay? That's your freedom to do that because they are your children and nobody can tell you how to raise your child. And if you have a transgender child and you want to raise your child as a transgender child, you have every right to do that. And we as a community must stick by you as a parent and give you the strength to raise your child that way without people telling you no. And the reason we need to do that is because we are here today for that same reason. Because our parents understood us and let us do that. So it is our obligation to stick by the parents, to give the parents power, to hold the hands of the parents, to tell the parents what they're doing is awesome, and to continue to help these parents move through the world, understanding that what they are doing is a positive thing for their child. Because as we know, when you don't let a child become the person that they want to be, all hell breaks loose. I can give you a lot of examples of that. Me being one. When I didn't get to be me, I became a fucked up person. I destroyed myself. I cut myself. I drank. I did tons of drugs. I tried to kill myself. I was a fucking mess. All because somebody told me, and my parents, that's your daughter, not your son. They told my parents that. That's your daughter, not your son. Shame on you for putting clothes like that on her. And that was the end of the game. And everything went downhill from there. Because people thought they could have a voice to tell my parents how to raise me. And back in the 60s and the 70s, that's what happened. And fuck if that's going to happen again. There's no way that's going to happen again on our watch. Philip says, agreed. Yes, I agree. Okay, so Smash says, my dad still slips up and misgenders me. He apologizes, but I don't care. He called me she for 38. Yes, Smash, right on. And why I love you, my friend. You gotta give people a break. They're not doing it maliciously a lot of times. They just don't know. It took 20 years to train my parents to say he. They get it now. It took a long time. You're not being compassionate to your parents if you're being angry at them for misgendering you or anybody. Give people a break. Let them learn. But here's one way not to educate people. Don't be angry. Don't be angry at people. People don't learn when you're angry. They'll shut down. But when you're happy and you're compassionate and you're empathetic and you laugh because they called you she, I laugh when people call me she. It breaks down that barrier. It breaks down that block of learning. Teach people with kindness. They will come around. I almost will guarantee you that. When you teach people with kindness, they come around. And it's a real thing. Alex says, as a child, I always dropped to the floor, kicking and crying when mom put dresses on me. It was age 8 when she finally let me wear jeans and tops. Daniel says, like for real, it's like 2017, like people need to get it together. Okay, kids, it's time to go. I love you guys a lot. I always appreciate you showing up and helping me move over to YouTube and get this thing started. Go on to your day. Create your day, okay? It's really important. You know how I feel about that. Don't bitch about your day being bad. Don't bitch about things not working out for you. Don't bitch about whatever the fuck is making you upset and angry. Fix it. Fix it. Tara says, my daughter introduced me to her non-binary partner. Her partner was more scared because how excited my daughter was when we saw them at Walmart. That's awesome. You see? Go to the world today, people. Do something great. Say hi to somebody. Change somebody's life. Be present. Be visible. Be that person that you want to see the world become as well. What you put out there comes back to you. It's a real fucking thing. When you're shitty and angry comes back at you. When you're happy, when you're progressive, when you want to educate, when you want to see change, and you become part of that, you will feel so empowered by that. Use your life to create change. You are somebody. You are worthy. You are needed. You are powerful. You are all those things that you know you are inside. So stop doubting it and stop feeling that you aren't, because you are. You are. Tara says, still want to review your CBD vape. Yeah, I'm going to send you that, my friend, so that you can review it. And with that, my friends, I'm going to close with a commercial. I want to do it just for fun. But anyways, I'm also going to do it because it's important. So check this out. That, my friends. I love you guys a lot. Go to the day, create the day, be the change, be all the things, okay? Okay? Talk to the parents. Talk to them. Christiana, I gotta go, Christina, but let me see. Hey there, just have recently released a new music project called Being Alive. It's beautiful. It's a metal and most depressive lyrics. There's topics and feelings of a trans person. Oh, thanks. That's really sweet. Right on. Send us some of it so we can listen to it. I love you guys. I love you guys, and you know it. You see it in my eyes. I love you. We can't do it alone. We must do it together, okay? So do it, create it, and be it. I love you.